Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV, and welcome to the Best of the Rest show. We are in the building. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to discuss. You know what I'm saying? After the debacle of the weekend, you know what I mean? Certain man had energy. Certain man wanted to smoke. And yeah, man, it was cracking. It was cracking, people. Big up to Prems. He's in the building. Premsy, what are you telling me?
Oh, good, bro. Fuck yeah, I'm not going to lie, feeling a little bit under the weather. Still, Manchester weather, as you know, is not being too clever, so getting a little bit of cold. But all good, man. Still top of the tree. You get me? Still in our hands, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get it cracking, people.
Come on. We got Mons in the building, got his Liverpool top on. He's ready for the war today. What are you telling me, Mons?
I'm not too bad, man. Just sipping on that holding pack. You know what I'm saying? No. I'm joking. Listen, I'm alright.
The man can't even look. We're gonna get into it straight away. You get me? You can't even come for holding. You get me? Holding. It wasn't that guy. It wasn't that guy. You get me? But Darwin Núñez, on the other hand,
He's stuck. But listen, we'll get to it, man. Obviously, though, again, the weather right here in the Midlands right now is a bit crazy, but just good to be on. Just hit 4K subscribers, so gassed about that.
Big up. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you to you lot as well. That's helping my support. That's helping the numbers as well. So I'm just glad to be here and ready to chop up some Premier League stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So big up.
Come on. Big up Patrick, you get me? If Tottenham win, then he's got his Tottenham gear on. You know what I'm saying? What are you saying?
Look, Kane scored, Son scored. I felt like it was Tottenham under prime Pochettino. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. What can I say? Let's do this.
Up, everyone.
Come on.
Thank you, my friend, for the greater good.
Yes, greater good.
I've got you. I told you I've got you.
2nd of May, I will do what's right for the great sport of football.
For the greater good.
And 0-0 is loading.
Nah. Chelsea got no hope, fam. I don't know about you.
We got fuck all hope.
All I've got is get them 40 points, yeah, and you carry on.
I don't even know who's scoring, bro. I just want a 0-0 and I'll be happy.
Big up Lewis, man. Big up for the raid. Big up to you, man. What are you telling me, Lewis, man? Everything good?
Yeah, we're all good. The road to 40 points continues, but we'll get there one day. We'll get there one day. 4 months I've asked for this shit, and my club can't give it to me. But
You know
whatever.
what? The thing is, you know what's mad? When you first said it, I fully thought it was a joke, and then as the months are winding down, I'm like, "Wow, you're
I'm being serious, bro."
1 point away, though. 1 point away in it. It's not the end of it.
Yeah, but I don't know where that's coming from with our fixtures, man. I don't know where they're coming from. We still got you lot. We still got United. We still got City,
United,
Brentford, Brighton. Are we drawing any of them?
Look at the Tottenham fan laughing at Chelsea. That's
it's hilarious.
This is where we are. I'm below all of you guys. Pause.
Tottenham can't help but catch strays, can they? Man can't even laugh without having to get dragged into
You see it.
No, but it's true though. It's true. Like Tottenham, they used to be the ones that laughed at, but now Tottenham at least are getting Champions League football. Chelsea in the mud. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. But listen, we're gonna get into everything. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to everyone's channels. The links are in the description. Big up to the community. Best of the rest show. Love to Don Dada. Yeah, man. Like the video, people. Come on, man. But yeah, we can only start with the game at Anfield, the madness. Premsy, what are you telling me, man? The title of the video, I put Arsenal. Are they still favourites for the league? How are you feeling, man, after that 2-2 now?
Do you know what? Yeah, look, putting all the banter aside, it was a cracking game of football to watching it. I think the first half, Arsenal played unbelievable. I think second half, Liverpool played unbelievable. And it could have went either way. I think we kind of was a little bit lucky to walk away with a point as well, especially with Liverpool being at home. They had loads of chances that they didn't put away. But at the same time, we could have potentially scored a few goals right at the end as well if it was a little bit of a better pass from Martinelli. We don't know what could have happened there. But look, I see it as a point gained. And the reason I see it as a point gained, because obviously man's full of confidence with my team this season. So I was expecting to go to Liverpool and go and get a win, because when you want to win the title, you need to go and win at these difficult grounds. But when you look at the whole scheme of it and you see the person that we're in the title race with in Man City went there, got beat. All the other big teams have gone there and got beat. Liverpool have been a good side at home this season. It's away from home where the troubles have occurred. You get me? So in order for us to go there, go 2 goals up, I can understand a lot of fans being disappointed and thinking, look, we kind of fluffed it here with 2 goals up and we've let it slip. But look, 2-0, I was talking to Patrick and Saeed off air about this. It's probably one of the most dangerous scorelines that you can go into a game with as well, especially when you've got them 2 goals early, because you don't know whether you're going to sit or you don't know whether you're going to attack. And I think that kind of played into Liverpool's hands a bit. I think with the whole Granit Xhaka situation, I think it's a bit unfair for everyone to blame him and say, oh, it's just down to him. In games, you need moments in order for the fans to get lifted. And unfortunately, that was just Granit Xhaka that was involved in that situation that it lifted the fans. But it wasn't down to him at all. You get me? I think you got to give Liverpool massive credit. I think for them getting that goal just before half time, that is what gave them the ascendancy in the second half. I think if we would have went in at 2-0, I honestly believe we would have probably won that game if we went in at 2-0 at half-time, because morale would have been down. They had something to fight for going into the second half. And look, it is what it is. Look, people be talking about, is Arsenal favourite still for the title? In my personal opinion, I think it's 50-50, because it could go either way. I don't think that this is it. I think City will still drop points, and I think Arsenal will still drop points, but we're in a proper title race now, and this is what a title race is about. You're not going to go and steamroll every single team. It's just not going to happen. This league is too good. So we just got to hold our nerve. Look, with Man City, they got to win every single game. If you look at it that way, they have to beat us. With us, we can just draw at Man City, and we still, if we win every game, we'll win the league. So I think we've got slight advantage there.
Tough games though. Brighton. You got Brighton at home. Chelsea. Listen, I don't know what Chelsea's going to come out. They might want to. You know what I mean? I'm sure Carefree Lewis and his Chelsea army are ready for you lot. Exactly 0-0. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Newcastle away. There's some tough fixtures in there, though.
Oh, definitely tough fixtures. I think the one that I look at, I don't even really look at Chelsea too tough. I think the way they have been this season, I don't think they'll come. No, I'm not even bantering. I'm just saying, I think the way they have been this season, I can't see them coming to the Emirates and outplaying Arsenal and getting the 3 points. I just can't see it happening. The game that I'm kind of most nervous about is Newcastle away, because I go to Newcastle away all the time. It's so hostile. Like I said, they just put you in the absolute clouds, and it's a very, very difficult ground to go to. But I get a little bit of hope going into that game, knowing that these are in a top 4 fight. They can't really just sit back like they did at the Emirates and hope for a draw. You get me? They have to come out and try to play and be on the front foot, which will play into our hands, which gives me some hope and belief. Again, you look at Man City's fixtures as well. They've got some tough games. Brentford away, Brighton. They've got some games where they could come unstuck, and they're playing quite a few teams that are down in the relegation scrap as well. So I think it's evenly balanced out, to be honest. I think going into that game a little bit deeper with the Arsenal-Liverpool game, I think Aaron Ramsdale, for me, was man of the match. He'd made some absolutely outstanding saves to keep us in it, especially towards the back end of the game as well. I think with me and Mons had a little back and forth last week about Rob Holding and Darwin Núñez. And to be fair to Rob Holding, I think he played well. I don't think he did anything too wrong. Yeah, he gave a penalty away, but you could have argued whether it was soft or not. But other than that, he didn't really put a foot wrong for me. Darwin Núñez, on the other hand, he had a one-on-one. He fluffed it, you know what I'm saying? So as you've seen, it's football. These things happen, but we can keep our head high and walk away from Anfield with a point, in my honest opinion. And that's just how I see in the game, bro. But we were lucky. We were lucky to a certain extent as well.
Big up Kevin says, won't notice if it's a point gained or lost till the end of the season. Mons, what are you telling me, man? You know what I mean? Man like Holdini, you know what I'm saying? Premsy was saying you can handle it and whatnot. What did you think, bro? You get me? You came. Anfield crowd came.
I'm not gonna lie, it was a roller coaster of a game, first of all. So for me, best game of the season. It must have been really for you neutrals. You lot must have been watching the game thinking, "Wow," do you know what I'm saying?
Madness.
Just absolute madness. So for that, obviously, what a game. I think there were similarities to the game last year at Anfield, where Arsenal were very much going toe to toe with a much better Liverpool and a worse Arsenal at the time, actually. And then Klopp and Arteta had the argument on the sideline, and then from then the game was done. Pretty much just because the crowd woke up, you know, Arsenal were doing well, and then it just flipped on its head. So again, I personally wouldn't blame Xhaka. I think that was the turning point, but there were so many other technicalities in the game, so many other things in the game where you can't just go, "Oh, it's Xhaka's fault." For me, I look at how open the game was, so many tactical switches. Trent was kind of playing that inside 6 role that we've seen, that we've not for the first time, but this was probably one of the most obvious switches for Trent, which I think benefited him. I think Konate was man of the match for me, even though that miss, I ain't gonna lie, that miss at the end is crazy. That was I'm not gonna lie in it. Like, I don't know how as a professional footballer you can't score that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry.
He didn't catch it right though, did he? Like, it came into like his mid-drift, didn't it?
He's probably anticipated the bounce to come higher up so we can kind of just nod it in the back of the net. But when he's probably seen that the ball's glided off the grass instead of actually bounced properly, all he can probably go with is just his chest. And
you gotta put him some slack, bro. He's a centre back. You know what I mean?
I know, but bro, you're still a professional baller in it. He has to score that for me. But apart from that, you see that tackle he put in on Xhaka? I watched that about 10 times a day. You see that tackle? How can the tackle make a man flip? I'm sorry, Konate was a monster. He made he dealt with Martinelli when he went over to that right-hand side. He was brilliant for me. I think Gabriel was brilliant as always, brilliant throughout the game. I think he also should have scored his header at the end. He had a free header, and for me, he has to score that.
Yeah,
he has to score that.
The keeper, man.
He has to score that. But I still think over the course of the game, we had a plethora of chances. I think we had a lot more chances. I personally think for 60% of the game, we battered Arsenal. 40% of that game, Arsenal were, it could have been a long day for us, innit? It could have been embarrassing. It could have got embarrassing very quickly. But just to address the holding thing, listen, personally, I actually think, let me say it from now, Holding actually had a decent game. He got his head to a lot of the crosses. He defended well. But for me, Saliba does not give away that penalty. He doesn't give away that penalty.
But once we all, sorry to interrupt, we all know he's not Saliba, innit? It's just
I know.
So many men are on Holding to say that's it. He's just going to capitulate. It's this, it's that. But you got to give the guy some respect, man.
No, he had a decent game. My point is, when the stakes are high, no one's asking you to be Maldini. But what we're saying is the stakes are high. I don't think this is a point gained for Arsenal. If you look at it in a vacuum, yes, this is a point gain for Arsenal. But if you look at it in the context of the Premier League title race, you needed to give that Manchester City game at the Etihad as little significance as possible. And now you've given it all the significance. A game where you go there, last 15, 14 losses, 1 win. So if you want to leave the game to that, To me, this is 2 points drop.
But that's not on holding though, because
No,
your boy Salah
it's
missed the penalty. You get me? If Salah would have scored the penalty, then it's a different situation.
There's nothing to do with holding. Nothing to do with holding. I'm talking about when you said you think this is a point game.
Definitely, I do.
You, in the context of the Premier League title race, if you get these 3 points, you go get that 3 points at Anfield, that City game has almost zero significance. Zero. Little to nothing, because you can go and lose that game and you still have a cushion. Now you have to go into that game, and Man City now is technically in both your hands. It's in your hands if you beat Man City. It's in Man City's hands if they beat you. You know,
and it's the way you look at it though as well, Monster. Like for example, in the title races, in every title race, in every title race though, how many teams go to Anfield and walk away with 3 points? It doesn't matter what year it is. You get me? It doesn't really happen too tough. You look at Man City this season, they're in a title race and they didn't walk away with any points.
But listen,
but in the context we were though, 2-0 up.
Yes, but bro, this is what I'm saying. Look at the context. You are 2-0 up in the opening 30 minutes. Now, if you look at it from there and you look at it in the title race, we're not talking about how hard it is to win at Anfield. We know how hard it is to win at Anfield. But at the same time, we also know how hard it is to win a Premier League. And going and winning at Anfield is the difference. That is the difference.
I don't think it is.
You go and win at Anfield, and that is the form of Premier League champions. And most people can say going and getting that win, which you were 3.5 minutes away from doing, was worthy of Premier League champions. Can you still win the league? Of course you can win the league.
I don't think it's all about going to Anfield and winning there, because out of all the seasons, Man City have beat you. Yeah, you've beat them most times at Anfield. Right. So it's not regarding to going to Anfield and beating them. So the champions over the last 4 or 5 years haven't even won there.
No one's ever been 2-0 up. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, a football game is 90 minutes, isn't it? A football game isn't just about the first 30 minutes of the game. I understand what you're saying when you're 2-0 up.
Let me finish.
No, I do.
Let me finish, and then I'll let you go. The reason I'm saying you guys needed to win was because of the significance of the Man City game. It's not like you beat. It's not just so much about no one winning at Anfield. It's about the fact that you don't beat Man City. You don't beat them. You lose almost all the time when you play them. So why would you go and give that game significance?
Because this season, the reason why I would, because this season it's different. We don't go away to Tottenham. I'll explain it to you if you listen. We don't go away to Tottenham and win. We did this season. We don't go away to Liverpool and even walk away with anything. We have this season. You get me? There's grounds this season that we don't get anything at, and we go and get the victory. You get me? Even when normally big teams like even Chelsea, we've had a horrendous record away at Chelsea. We went there, we got the victory. So this year, it's totally different. There's nothing saying that Arsenal can't beat Man City on the day. And all we have to really do is, if we was to all win our games, City and Arsenal, the difference is we have to draw there and they have to beat us there. So in my opinion, this is why I say it's a point gain, because if we lost all points, then it would have been a really sticky situation.
It's the same situation. It would have been the same situation. You draw, you lost. Mathematically, points-wise, it's the same. Whether you drew,
because football's about confidence as well, bro. And like I said, you got to take concepts out of the game.
Psychologically, when
you go to Anfield and you lose, it can have a big knock on the players. You get me? Like when you go to Anfield and you can walk away with a point, even if you're 2-0 up, at the end of the day, bro, it is a 90-minute game. We don't go and play for 45 minutes on the pitch. It's a 90-minute game. You got to give Liverpool credit. You can't, just because we're 2-0 up, you can't just say, oh, you should have definitely won that game. It doesn't work like that.
Football doesn't work like that. But in the course of the game, in the form that Arsenal have been, you're using the context of Liverpool's Anfield hype. I'm going to use the context of Arsenal's.
No, I'm talking about their statistics this season.
I know Arsenal statistics this season. As you said, you guys have overcome you've overcome 95% of challenges that have come across that have hit you guys this season. You've knocked it out the park. Hurdles, you've jumped over them every time. So for me, I generally think the majority of the Arsenal fans that are saying it's a point gained, you are trying to convince yourselves that you've done something well, when really you have that 2-0 up and not getting your 3 points.
No.
Hold on, let me finish. I stayed quiet. When you said it's a point gained, I let my heart beat a little bit faster and I stayed quiet.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not speaking nonsense. You're
I'm
trying
not
to come for the
saying-
Arsenal fans of this. I'm not sitting here, having you talking about the Arsenal fans. I was giving my opinion on the game and how I thought it is.
Right.
Yeah, you're talking about when Arsenal fans are saying this, Arsenal fans are saying that. No, run all that. It doesn't make that. Don't start bringing my foundation.
Prempy, my brother, just let me finish. Let me finish. So if you're looking at going 2-0 up and you are 3, 4, 5 minutes away from winning at Anfield, let's just have it right. You let it slip. Have you let
you're
the
going on like you won the game 3-2 or something?
Am I saying have you let the Premier League slip? No, you haven't let the Premier League slip. But what you're doing is giving Manchester City confidence. You don't want to give a team like that confidence because at the end of the day, you want to make this as you said, it's based on confidence. Your words, not mine. The last team you want to give confidence is a team that's won the Premier League 4 times in a row.
I don't think they need any confidence, bro. I don't think they, like you said, they won 4 out of the last 5. They don't need no confidence. They don't really do. They've got the know-how.
You man are convincing yourselves and you done a team when you let it slip.
Nah. Bro, you've won 1 Premier League in 30 years. You get me? How many times have you let the league slip left, right, and centre?
Yeah,
we're still in it. We're still in it, and we're still 6 points clear in it. Because, like you said,
I sit here and I admit it. When we lost 2-1 at the Etihad to Man City, I said we need people saying, "Oh man, you've never won at the Etihad. We still haven't won at the Etihad."
No. That's how you don't really know me, bro. Then because if you've watched my content from the get-go, when we're shit or when we're in the wrong, I'm the first person to come out and say it. You get me? But I'm just giving you my honest opinion that it's a point gained. No matter where you look at it, yeah, we could have easily lost that game at Anfield. We could have easily lost that game. Your Salah missed the penalty.
That's why.
What? Say that again.
You could have easily lost because you let it slip from 2-0. You were 2-0 up. It wasn't the other way around. We weren't 2-0 up and you clawed it back. Like, literally, if Liverpool were 2-0 up and you brought the game back 2-2, that's a point gained. When you are 2-0 up and you concede 2 goals, and especially one of them, which is in the last 5 minutes of the game, you let that game slip. It's a point game.
That's your opinion, innit? It's not my opinion.
I said, I generally think that's your opinion because you man, once you convince yourself, you want to.
No. There's no convincing here with me, bro. I'm speaking. There's no convincing here with me, bro. I know you might be on streams left, right, and center with people, and you can overtalk them and this. Nah. That shit don't run with me, fam. That shit don't run with me, fam. I'm telling you now for a fact. I'm giving you an honest opinion, yeah.
I'm not letting you say that opinion about interrupting you. I can't get through what I think about Arsenal's game, whether they deserve whether it was a point gained or 2 points dropped. I generally think it's 2 points dropped. I'm not rattled. I've got a point against the best team in the league right now.
Obviously, you're not rattled because you're dead. You get me? That's why. And he's not even going to make Champions League. That's why you're not rattled.
I think for Liverpool, in the context, I just think what's going on is that we're picking and choosing what context we want to use. You know, it's that, it's Anfield, it's the hardest place to go. But Arsenal have been the best team this season, and before the game, most Arsenal fans thought the game was won. At 2-0, most Arsenal fans thought the game was won. Let's be honest. Even the Liverpool fans thought this game was won. So
I didn't know you were mystic begging everyone's head.
We're ignoring little bits of context and we're choosing which context we want to believe in to make ourselves psychologically feel like it's okay to drop points in the last 5 minutes when you're in a title race against the best team in the Premier League in the last 7 years.
Bro, how many times have you been pumped in this season, bro? What are you talking about? You get me? It's different. It's different. You get me? We've come to an away ground. If we're at home, I understand where you're coming from. If we're at home, it's a different situation. But we're away from home, like you said, at one of the toughest places in the league that have just got a reputation and a know-how to get over the line in their stadium. Yeah, it's different. It's not the same. Like I said, Man United went there a few weeks ago and got pumped in 7-0. And at that specific point, Man United were probably the informed team in the league at that stage. You get me? Man City, who are chasing us down, who have won the last 4 out of the 5 Premier Leagues, like you're saying, they went there, they didn't even get a point. You get me? So this is why I'm telling you, I see it as a point gained because as evidence has it over that, when's the last time we beat you there? About fucking 2011 or something like that, bro. We don't go Anfield to even get a draw. We go and get pumped in. Like I said on my fan cam, year in, year out, we get pumped in at Anfield. So this is why it's a point gain for me. I can understand and hear what you're saying. 2-0 up. You shouldn't lose the game. I get it if we're at home. I get it. But you got to understand the 12th man stood up for yous And it gives you guys that belief and that confidence to get back in the game. Like I stated earlier on, sometimes 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline. And the timing of the goal as well. If you didn't get that one goal just before half time, then yeah, it's a bit different. But we went in at half time at 2-1. You get me? This is why I say it. Also, Salah's missed a penalty. You get me? Konate's missed chances. Salah's missed a few more chances on the right side. Realistically, we're lucky to walk away with a point, in my honest opinion. You get me? It could have went the other way as well, but Liverpool had more clear-cut, clean chances than what we had. You get me? So in my estimation, we walk away with a point. We walk away with a point, and that's a point gained, a point better off than where we were. Rather have points on the table than not have the points on the table. We're still 6 points there. There's nothing that says that Man City are going to go out there and win their game in hand. Nothing that says that is there. In this league, nothing's guaranteed. You get me? It's a high probability that they will, but nothing's guaranteed. Nobody expected Brentford to go to City and beat them this season. You get me? It happened. So we're going to have to wait.
No, it's true. It's true. Big up to Ozan Kaba. And by the way, there's over 600 of you in the building. Make sure you guys are liking the video, man. Bottom right hand corner. Please do hit the like button. Big up to Ozan Kaba. Yes, he plays centre back. He says, I don't like dropping super chats on United channels. Love my guy, but I have to back my guy Monts to the moon on this. Yeah, man. Let's hear.
He's got a Liverpool shirt on, ain't he? Fucking hell.
Big up to Lewis. Obviously, he's in the chat as well. What are you thinking? Title race right now. The way he's going to swing before we get Patrick's opinion, but where you look at it, and you've heard them go back and forth. What are you thinking, bro? Right now, who's got the lead in right now?
It's really hard to tell, but I'd be surprised if City drop points from this point onwards. Arsenal, still not sure about them, but if they can get through that Man City, Brighton, Newcastle run, I can't say Chelsea because now we've been pulled out of that game. That game's now, I think, on the 2nd of May. It's a Tuesday night kickoff. A little bit of history there. Battle of the Bridge 2016. Chelsea ruining a title race. Maybe lightning strikes twice. Maybe. Probably not, but we move. But if they get through that run of 3 games, and if they especially beat Manchester City, then fair enough. That's where it's like, okay, I'd be very surprised they drop it from this point. But there's still plenty to play for. There's still tough fixtures for both sides. I think City have been in this position enough times, though, that I'd expect them to see it through. I don't think it would look bad on Arsenal if they don't. Like, I think you build from it. It's experience. You come out for next season in a much better way. And you're building your depth as well. So I'd expect you to be even stronger for next season. But if I had to pick one team, I'm still leaning towards Man City. I won't lie.
Lewis, but you see what I said? Why give them any little inkling of life? Like, you literally gave them the defibs and revived them. So now that game at the Etihad has significance.
They should have killed you guys off because they were all saying before the game. Well, a lot of Arsenal fans were saying before the game that if they won at Anfield, the title race was done. So we can't pretend it's now on the back foot that they dropped 2 points.
To be fair, that never come out of my mouth, so I can't.
No, not you. That's why I said some.
Yeah. Big up the boss, man. He says Team Months. Yo, big up Team Months, man. You know, I say that. I'm with you, man. Any more Team Months, shout me, man. You get me? Big up to you.
Obviously, you know what it is with these Liverpool guys? They've got so much PTSD over the last 5-6 seasons where they've just been hammered by City and that, and they can't do that.
I care about you, bro. I'm trying to help you, bro. This is me helping you. I promise you this is help. This is me helping you.
Obviously, it's all about opinions, innit? I know my team better than you know my team, innit? And for me, it's definitely a point gained. I'm telling you now for a fact. Year in, year out, we go Anfield and we get beat. Simple as that.
But don't you think it'd be a bit more demoralising that you're in that sort of position and then you dropped it?
Of course it's disappointing. Of course it's disappointing. But at the same time, you got to be a proper footballing person and respect what Liverpool can do at home. You got to be able to respect that and understand it. You get me? Like I said, football isn't a 45-minute game. You get me? We've seen years in, years out, teams 2-0 up. Look at Liverpool. They were 3-0 down, weren't they, in the Champions League final against AC Milan when they came back and won the Champions League. At that point, AC Milan were a top team. It's football. This is what happens in football.
That a bottle job by them.
Yeah?
That's a bottle job by them.
No, but what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
we do say Milan bold.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
that's
in
a
football,
massive job.
in football, these things can happen, innit? It's not like you're there and you're playing with yourself and having a wank on the side of the pitch and the game's over. That's not what's happening. You know what I mean? There's Liverpool are at home. They haven't been really beaten apart from what Leeds, I think, this season at Anfield. You get me? So in my opinion, we've done better than what City have done there. This is why I see it as
Anfield.
Huh?
Is that their only loss at Anfield?
Yeah, Leeds.
No,
We drew.
Leeds.
Similar
to United, man. We got a good record. I think Man City have got the best record.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No.
Potter got a clean sheet there, though. So
yeah.
We
Most teams this season have done better at home than they've done away. Yeah. Awinski, big up my guy. Awinski says both contexts and perspectives are valid. Getting anything at Anfield is a bonus. Also, how Arsenal capitulated from a 2-0 lead given Liverpool's form was bad. Listen, Patrick, what are you saying, man? I know you're looking a bit nervous around there. You know what I'm saying? Were you relieved this weekend? More relief?
I'm not nervous, man. I mean, I'm not a neutral per se, but I was a neutral watching the game, thinking, obviously I wanted Arsenal to lose, but just watching the game, I enjoyed it. It was a great game of football. And I've said it, and I'll just be honest. Like, Arsenal were fantastic in that first 30, 35 minutes. They played some scintillating football. They went into the game with no fear. They were just passing the ball around, cutting Liverpool to shreds. And, the Martinelli finish was a top finish at full pace to get his shot off under the keeper. Obviously, Alisson is a world-class keeper. He made it look easy. Second goal went in, and I was like, wow, this Arsenal team, literally, I was watching boys become men. Like, they were just fantastic. But Xhaka, it's not his fault. And I know people want to give, use the excuse that he is the reason why the game changed. He's not. Alexander-Arnold was putting it on him. What's he meant to do? The same guys that then will turn around and say, Arsenal in these big games, they don't stand up. They cower away. Xhaka did his bit. What's he meant to do? Roll over and allow someone to bully him? But that gave the crowd something to get behind, because Arsenal had literally flattened. Arsenal was so good, they had flattened Anfield. You could hear a pin drop, and that never happens because obviously Anfield is literally the 12th man, one of the hardest grounds to go to. So I've got to give Arsenal their respect in that sense. They were brilliant, but they allowed Liverpool back into the game, and they were quite fortunate to go into the half-time at 2-1, because Henderson should have scored point blank, zero composure, and he obviously hoofed it way over the bar. It should have been 2-2. So Arsenal had something to still hold on to, but it gave Liverpool that impetus, like, wow, we've been shit and bullied the whole game, but we're still in it. And then obviously in the second half, Liverpool grew, and Arsenal were lucky to walk away with something. So for me, I look at it both ways. Like, it's definitely 2 points dropped from where Arsenal were. They were 2-0 up in a game where they obviously, needed to win it. But then also at the same time, from how the game ended, it's a brilliant point. Because they should have lost the game, if we're being real, in terms of the chances created and how the game finished. And obviously, like Monson and Femzi have alluded to, how good Liverpool are at Anfield and how bad Arsenal's record is at Anfield. So it goes both ways. It's definitely a capitulation, but also at the same time, it's a good point. We'll see at the end of the season where it lies, and if this was pivotal or whatever. We can't really talk on everything else until we see the games unfold. So
Patrick, can I say one thing? Just one small thing.
Yeah.
Feel free to chime in, guys. There's so much context being put on how hard it is to win at Anfield. Can we all agree on that first? Can we all agree on that?
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if that's the context being used to say that Arsenal gained a point, why isn't that same context being used when they go to the Etihad, which they haven't won there in 14 games?
I agree, but it might not just turn up to.
Shall I tell you why?
That's my question.
Shall I tell you why? Because City hardly got no fans. That's why, and it is very quiet, bro. So that's
doesn't matter. Clearly doesn't matter.
Atmosphere.
14 times.
Bro,
doesn't matter.
Because over the last 14 years, we've been absolutely dog shite compared to Man City. And realistically, we should have lost them games. This season, it's been different. Even when we went to Etihad in the FA Cup and we lost that game in the FA Cup. Listen, you asked a question and I'm answering the question for you, innit? So basically, it's different this season. You get me? If we could, like I said, if use Liverpool, we could go to Liverpool and get a draw at your ground. I'm pretty much sure we can do the same at Etihad. You get me? Or even walk away with the victory. It's not all lost. Everyone likes to put this big, massive, I don't know where it's coming from. You can't, if you're up 2-0, you can't draw a game or you can't lose a game. That's totally bullshit. It's football.
No, but
these things can happen.
You should.
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah,
No.
I think what you're doing is.
All right, let me ask you. All right.
And you've gone, it happens.
Especially what happens as well.
If it's happening on a consistent basis, week in, week out, I get it. If it happens on the odd occasion, for me, that is not bottling it one bit. I think there's a lot of emphasis thrown on it because we were 2-0 up. Yeah, we were in a good position, but you got to take context out of the game as well. It's not like we were 2-0 up all the way up until the 80th minute, and then we've just capitulation, and it's
not bottling. I don't think it's bottling.
That's not the same situation. You get me? So for me, it's plain and simple. You get me? We're still in control of our own destiny. You get me? And to me, that's not bottling anything just yet. So that's how it is. Obviously, a lot of used teams right here, you'd be loving to be in my position right now. Simple as that.
Listen, we love. But at the end of the day, you gotta win, man. You gotta win the league.
That's got nothing to do with it.
Listen, that's all it is.
Yeah, nothing to do with it.
Last point, so we want to move on to Chelsea. Any last points, and then we'll move on.
We don't need to.
No, we need to. More than you could believe. And by the way, big up the boss, by the way. Monts got my brother Premsy on the ropes. Lol, great debate panel. Big up to everybody, man. This is what we like, man. This is
definitely a Liverpool fan as well. You know what I mean? I don't know. All the Liverpool fans have come out in force today, haven't they? What you been paying everyone a tenner?
Arsenal fans, man.
You been paying everyone a tenner? I don't need no support. I'm a big boy. You get me? I got my big boy pants on. You get me? I don't need no support. I'm telling you now, we're top of the fucking tree, mate. Top of the tree. You get me?
There we go.
That's it. But my last point, I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade on anyone and this and that. I think from a 2-0, from being 2-0 up in a game of that magnitude and how good Arsenal have been this year.
Is this the same opinion as the top six yesterday?
And how good Arsenal were in that game. Like, it's not like Arsenal played shit and then they were amazing in that game. They were scintillating. So from that perspective, Arsenal fans and Arsenal will be pissed that they threw away a 2-goal lead. I'm not going to say it's bottling per se, but it kind of is. But then also, at the same time, you still walked away with a point in a difficult ground where you obviously conceded a lot of good chances. And so it goes both ways. I think it's a great point personally, but I understand where people are saying it's a bottle job. You just got to ride above that because obviously at this point of the state, it's business end of the season, and everyone wants to see Arsenal throw away a lead and throw away games, including me. But I'm not just going to sit here and go on that narrative only, considering how good they were. Like, Arsenal were fantastic in that game, and I saw a different team. Do you know what I mean? I saw a different set of guys there, and I was like, wow, this team are the real deal. Do you know what I mean? Not like they're the best team in the league. They've been the best team in the league this year, but business end, it can all change. And it's 50-50 now. It's in both Man City and Arsenal's hands, and we'll just see how it pans out.
Just use that whole it's a hard ground to go to when you go to the Etihad as well, please.
Yeah.
That's when it suits me, FC in it.
But realistically, City is a hard ground to go to, innit?
So whatever happens there don't matter. It's just a hard ground.
Common sense, I don't expect what you expect. You expect Arsenal to go and beat every single fucking team that's out there. That doesn't work. You get me? It's like we dropped 2 points at Anfield, and it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world.
The end of the world.
How far are you making it out?
Anyway,
that's how you make it out to me. You get me?
As you were saying.
Look at your face.
No, we need to move on.
We don't need to move on. We can talk about like the stadiums and all of this.
No. We need to talk about Chelsea, man.
All of that, big fortresses.
Yo, Chelsea. What happened to the Vibes FC, man? What happened to Frank Lampard coming back and, you know what I mean, everything's restored back to normality? What happened? Like, what's going on? Why can't
things have been restored back to normality? We lost again. Same crap every week, bro. Frank Lampard's the genius, the visionary, decided the first thing he was going to do is go to a back four. That's on you, innit? That's on you. That's why I'd like to any Chelsea fans who didn't want Lampard back because they were worried he was going to resign. Are you sure? Are you sure Lampard's not just going to Lampard it up like he usually does? Because the first thing he did was put Gallagher in the midfield, put Havertz up top again, and play a back four. And then we just got battered. That game was funny. Because I actually didn't mud myself by actually going to that crap. I knew I wasn't going to get tripped by Lampard revisionism and good vibes and the atmosphere is going to be amazing and all of that. And I knew it was still going to be crap because Chelsea would play like crap and they'd kill the atmosphere. Lost 1-0. Should have been more. Diego Costa had a great chance on goal. I wouldn't have minded him scoring. It would have been nice just for the nostalgia and everything, seeing as we're running that till the end of the campaign. But yeah, we're crap. We're just shit.
You want the 40-point mark. You know, you need the points you can get, man. But
I don't know where our next point's coming from. That was the last of the easy games until I think the last 4 games of the season where we have Bournemouth away and Nottingham Forest at home. But they're all going to be in relegation scraps, so they're going to be on steroids for that game. And we don't even like going to Bournemouth away. So that screams 1-0 Dominic Solanke, because every Cobham graduate loves scoring against us. And yeah, whatever. I don't know. I want this season done. Chelsea are going to the Bernabeu tomorrow. If Lampard even dares plays a back 4, we're going to be holding 7, and there's going to be 7-up jokes on my head top. But who cares? We're just crap at this point. It's the same shit every week. I just hope Lampard makes some rotations after the Madrid game. Give me some fresh faces. Put some academy players on or something. Someone with a bit more fight, more desire, more integrity, intensity, all of those buzzwords and all of that. Because it's all we have now. It's all we have now. We don't have tactics. We don't have goals. My team has 29 league goals in 29 league games. That is the worst record at this point in a league season in guess how long?
History. Probably history.
No. To be fair, go forward a little bit. You didn't go as close as I thought you would. 99 years. 99 years. We have the worst attack in 99 years.
With all that superstars, with Mudryk, with Havertz, with Felix, with Madueke, with Sterling.
But they're not goal scorers.
99 years, the worst attack.
With all due respect, none of those guys are goal scorers. None of those guys give you more than 15 goals a season. So I'm not even trying to... Then, you needed an out-and-out number 9. Obviously, Lukaku's been ostracised. He's on the other half of the world. You've got no goal scorer, so I'm not surprised. But also,
but here's the thing. And also, our number 9 doesn't get given any game time while we play
He's on Twitch.
But here's the thing. I get what you're saying, Patrick. But I'd understand that if we were on like 40-something goals, or if we were on 29 league goals.
That is crazy.
It's one goal a game.
Haaland's got more goals, apparently.
Yeah, Haaland's got 30 goals.
Yeah, Kane's I think Rashford has more goals.
Yeah, Kane's even got almost the same amount of goals. That's mental. That is mental.
Bro, we just stink. That's just it. We just suck. Like, I'm just trying to dream of a 0-0 draw at the Emirates because it's going to be the only shining light on my season. But we're going to hold 6 there too.
Nah, you know what? I can see you lot turning up for that game.
Nah,
I can see you lot turning up for that game.
No, what? You know what I see, bro? I see Chelsea getting knocked out by Real Madrid and these dickheads going straight onto the beach, and we lose every other game after that because they did that last season.
Mad.
Listen,
nothing to fight for. They're going straight onto the beach, and it's only going to get worse. That's why I've checked out. I said I'd check out at 40 points. These dickheads can't even get me to that. I'm checking out now.
Lewis, do you know what you are, though? Do you know what you man are? You man are like the one kid on out of all the friends on the play date that you're the rich kid that's just dead at every game, bro. But you come with all the fresh controllers, all like you come with all the accessories, but you're just dead at every game. How can you buy everyone and get worse? I will never understand that. I don't care if you haven't bought a goal scorer. I don't care. You had goal scorers at your club.
It's what happens when you hire a pothead.
No, but bro, like there's still initiative from the players, and I'm sorry, but on paper, I look at your midfield and I go Enzo, Ramadan Kante, Kova. I look at my midfield and I go Curtis Jones, 2-button FIFA Henderson, triangle and square. I look at that walking tack foul in Fabinho.
But you see no DM because our genius manager said it was a win-win-win for all parties to sell him to Arsenal. Dickhead. Absolute dickhead.
Crazy to me.
Kante
has only just come back. And Kova's having a stinker this season.
I'm telling you, you're the guy on Ultimate Team with all the icons. All the icons. Your backline
icons. Nothing Cole, up top.
Rio Ferdinand, Sol Campbell, and I'll put Neville in there. But yeah, we've got those cards that get downgraded in January. That's what we've got. You're losing to man with gold cards. You're losing to man with 78 Ahmed Musa up front, and you got the whole icon back line with Schmeichel in goal, 94. It's mad. It's because you know about those old FIFA games where you had like 2 chemistry and no one can function well together. That's what we've got. That's exactly what we've got, bro. I hear what you're saying about the midfield. We got no DM.
The attack is just a bunch of fresh faces and a bunch of old shit that we need to discard at the first available opportunity. The defense isn't really too bad other than Bozo moments and Cucurella, and we have 2 shite goalkeepers and just shite managers. The club's a mess from top to bottom. Just rip it all up, start again next season with an actual manager, with a philosophy, and maybe we can get back into the top 4 race for this season. As of right now, this is just it's a shit show. Top to bottom, it's just a load of shit.
I hear you, I hear the pain in your voice. I actually do. Big up Samuel Twitter says, I remember when Lewis and Matisse were laughing at Arsenal when they bought Mudryk. Brother looks like an academy player. Life comes at you fast. You man them.
Do you want to know why we were hyping that January window? Because that was the high point of our season and we knew it. So we're going to enjoy the moment. It was only downhill from there.
No, the club need to look at themselves, man. They spent all that money and they didn't recruit in the right places of the right players, man. There's something that needs to go on at that club. And I think with their squad, it's just too big. This is what's going to happen. You've got to think how many egos and how many players are in training that are just not happy to be playing. It's just going to cause an absolute disaster. Bringing Frank Lampard back as well, for me, big mistake. I don't think that's going to do them any good.
Nah, Lampard was there to steer the ship. We just needed somebody
to supply
to
teacher for a PE teacher. That's what he done.
Basically. But I think Lampard's still better than Potter. So I don't even change nothing.
Yeah.
At least Lampard made smarter subs in the second half. Potter would have fucking put Gallagher on, Loftus-Cheek, Zakaria, all sorts of just like 8s with no end product or just defenders to try and hold the lead or like hold a 0-0 or some bollocks. At least Lampard, he's experimenting. Just that experiment failed at the back 4. Don't do it again. Don't even bring it to the Bernabeu. Back 5, rotate the attack and whatever. I don't care. Find something that works.
Big up the boss says, big up Lewis. He's a real one. Yeah, man. Come on, always. I think the community man's in here saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, man. Listen, Sava got him last night, man. So
I need to watch that.
Those madness on the big six.
I need to watch that. I haven't watched it.
So I caught that today, man. Big up Grizz, man.
Yeah,
shout out to Grizz, though. Grizz is a real one. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Christopher says, the pothead was pushing Brighton for Europa. Have some respect, he says.
Really? I've seen some stats with him at Brighton. I saw a stat that said he had 3 home wins in a row. 1 in 2019, 1 in 2020, and 1 in 2021.
I told you lot this, but when he signed and you lot thought I was hating, I said it. His home form at Brighton was atrocious, but because it's Brighton, no one put a spotlight on it. And I said it. You can't get away with that Stamford Bridge or a bigger club. And obviously it's coming to fruition. So, yeah.
Well, we took Brighton to 9th. We left Chelsea in 10th. So, what? Same thing. Great.
Yeah.
It's just what it is with Potter as well. It's a brand new experience going to a bigger club in it, having that money to spend, having that kind of pressure on him. Some people can't handle it. I think it's probably he was at the right level at Brighton, you know what I mean? Wolves, some kind of teams. With Chelsea, the thing is with Chelsea, I'm surprised that they didn't go and pay the money and bring in a manager now. I understand that certain managers are coming on by the end of the season, have a full pre-season. But at the same time, why wouldn't you want to come in now, call this season as a write-off as what it is, get to understand the players that you've got, know who you want to keep and who you want to get rid of, and that way you got a bit more time to play with the squad and stuff. So
yeah, but
I think we're gonna announce one before the end of the season. But I wouldn't want to bring a manager into this climate either, because we're playing like a game every 3 to 4 days. We've got a messed up fixture list, so there's not a lot of time to bed in a philosophy. And they're going to be the ones getting slandered when Chelsea start losing game in and game out anyway, because we're facing teams better than us. I'd rather they just come in the summer, announce him early so he can start his work and his preparation beforehand. But you might as well have had Lampard at the wheel. That's why I'm not even that fussed that he's here. Someone's got to take charge till the end of the season. You might as well make it be a friendly face, because he needs all the PR that he can get at this point. It is what it is.
They might be hoping for Lampard to do well for the rest of the season and appoint him full time. You don't know.
Hey, listen, we dream. We dream, man. We dream. Big up to everybody who's locked in. There's over 800 of you in the chat, man. We're not hit 400 likes yet, so let's get to 400 likes.
Like people, man. What's wrong with you?
Man.
Entertainment at its finest.
Entertainment, man. People are putting it here. You know what I'm saying? So, man, come on, like the video. Big Ben says here, well, we rank Real Madrid if they win the Champions League again. 6 Champions League titles in 9 years. Bring on Chelsea. I'm presuming he's a Real Madrid fan.
If you don't have the game wrapped up by the end of the first leg, you should hang your heads in shame. Your heads in shame.
Listen, man, them superstars have got to rise up surely somehow, man. Maybe this is Champions League. Maybe this is where they click, man. You never know, man. So
no, the only reason why we got through in the Champions League was because Sterling miskicked the shot and then hit the rebound, and Havertz got a penalty retaken. It was fugazi as hell. And Dortmund was shit in both legs too.
Dortmund were
so
rubbish.
Madrid, we are not winning. We will not win.
Dortmund were awful, man. Dortmund were awful.
That's why I'm not there. I was meant to be traveling to Madrid today. I am not wasting 500.
It's Fator there. It's Fator gone. Fator gone, isn't it?
Fatah's gone. Yeah, but he's got more money than sense, so I don't even blame him.
Oh, yeah, he's wanted, man. Bigger Fatah as always, man. Give me a quick prediction. I'm going to go for Real Madrid to win tomorrow. Is that is that Madrid, isn't it? I'm going to go Madrid to win.
Hey, what did you just say? What did you say? Yeah. Trying to bring back my nightmare, trying to give me PTSD.
2-0 Madrid, 2-0 Madrid, 2-0 Madrid, me.
Yeah,
Premsy, what are you saying?
I think that's fair.
Back in 4-1, 4-0, something like that.
Months, what are you saying?
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, I heard the 4-1. That went over my head and I heard it late. That's a vibe. I'm saying 2-1. 2-1 Madrid. I don't think it's going to be as like people acting like Madrid are in the form of their lives. They're not. Like,
no, but in the Champions League, where they click.
Chelsea definitely are not as well.
Just say
I'm saying 2-1 in it. I'm saying 2-1. People are saying they're going to mow them over. I'm saying 2-1 Madrid. I think Chelsea's still the second leg with a chance to win.
Yeah, 2-0. I mean, as much as Chelsea have not been good, I don't see it being. I think Real Madrid will win convincingly, especially over 2 legs. But I can't see him just literally wiping the floor with them. I could be wrong, but I think Chelsea will turn up with at least something to prove, a point to prove. The fact this is all they've got left to play for, we should hopefully see some sort of fight. But I do think Madrid win probably 4-5, 6-1 or 6-2 on aggregate. But tomorrow will probably be about a 2-0.
Lewis, what are you saying?
I'm going for what I want, so I'm going to take a nice little 0-0. Boring
back
football.
To the bridge. Yeah,
fair enough.
In reality, we're holding 5.
If you get a clean sheet at the Bernabeu,
the shamelessness you will see that night, man. It'll be like a trophy. It'll be like a trophy.
You know what? Yeah. The end of the video, I want to discuss Carragher's tweet about the Van Dijk debate. Van Dijk is far better than Vidic. He was a top centre back, but have you forgot his performances against Torres? Rio and JT had pauses in their careers, like all players. Van Dijk is having one now, and no centre back in the Premier League era has ever had Virgil van Dijk's impact on a team. This comes after a tweet was put out that Van Dijk's drop off is actually the same. People comparing him to Terry, Company, Rio, and Van Dijk. Listen. I think for me, I'm having Van Dijk, Vidic any day of the week over Van Dijk. But I want to discuss where does Van Dijk rank in the all-time greats? If we're talking about all-time greats, where does Van Dijk sit at the table? And let's start with you, Patrick. Where do you think he sits? Does he deserve his praise? And man, don't worry, man. We'll get to you, man. Don't worry.
But let's be
sit?
real. He's not. Is he even top 10? I don't even know if he's top 10, if I'm being real with you. In terms of all-time top centre-backs in the Premier League, he's definitely not top 5. Probably not top 7. The thing is, like, I don't want to shit on Van Dijk because he is an exceptional centre-back. And for 2 years, he was comfortably probably the best centre-back in the world. He was fantastic. The guy was a Rolls Royce. He was so smooth, couldn't get past him. He won every aerial duel. He won every tackle. He commanded his back line. The guy was a force of nature. He was a freak of nature. But after the injury, his drop-off has been really poor. And I think for Van Dijk, what annoys me the most is that the game comes so easy to him, but I never see him really get stuck in. I don't see him really, do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem to, it's almost sometimes like the game comes so easy, he doesn't really try, and then he's just having these bad moments, getting caught out of position. This year's been a shambles from top to bottom, really. And I'm just surprised, like, when you talk about Vidic, for me, he's one of the best centre-backs I've seen. Like, he was insane. And then you're looking at people like, even I hate the guy with all my
Campbell.
heart. Yeah, but Sol Campbell's better than Virgil van Dijk. Because I'm seeing people now go, oh, prime for prime, Virgil van Dijk. I'm like, we need to stop this prime for prime, man. A career
Exactly,
is a career.
it's a career, man.
Like, what the fuck is this prime for prime shit? Like, a career is a career. So you look at that whole career, and obviously, yeah, you can't really rate Van Dijk when he's at Celtic and even maybe Southampton. But when you look at his Liverpool stint, it doesn't compare to the guys that, like the Terrys, the, Ferdinand, your companies. Like, I don't really understand how he's all of a sudden been elevated to not even in the top 5. They're saying he's the best ever. That's crazy. So I'm shocked. I don't get it. I think a lot of Liverpool fans are just not really being real with it. I don't know your opinion on it, Mons. I don't know where you put him. But some of the stuff Liverpool people are saying is a bit wild. And yeah, they just need to come back to reality with it.
Before you come in, big up to Kadane said Chelsea fan need this. They've been spoiled. American owner with dollar, but no direction. Big up my guy Kadane Jackson. What are you saying, Mons? First of all, do you think he's a better centre back than Vidic?
No, I don't think it's even a fair comparison. I think that.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
No, I don't think it's a fair comparison because we're looking at someone who still has 3-4 years left in the tank at the top level. And the fact that he's being compared to the great, like Rio for me is moving like a hypocrite. I love Rio to bits, but you can't sit there with the defender and say, for me, I think you're top 3. I think you're in the top 5. You're not better than Stab and myself, but I put you 3rd. And then you're now leading the charge for saying, I've never seen these guys have a bad season like this. How you can be compared to, I've never seen Terry have this season. I've never seen this down the 3rd. First of all, Stam was in the Premier League for 3 seasons. Which side do you want to go with? You can't be up his ass 1 point, sitting with him cheesing, and in the minute he starts to have a drop off, you're now saying, how can he even be compared? Because you was the one doing it. So Rio, you're just chatting rubbish. Sorry to use your again. This is a Man United channel, so for me to be at Rio like
no, it's an open channel. It's an open channel, by the way.
You know what I'm saying? But do you know what I'm saying in it? So I think that in itself is unfair. Where I believe he is placed, I think it's one of those situations similar to the Trent situation where it's the same guy saying that Trent was the best right back to ever grace the game. It's the same bunch, innit? And Liverpool fans did jump the gun. I'm not going to say Trent was... I never said Trent was one of the best right backs of all time. I said, bro, have you guys not heard of Dele Alli? Tipped to be at the top, 3 world-class seasons, and he's now sipping on balloons. Do it at Besiktas. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's have it right. Man are too quick to put players in conversations when their career... You're comparing them to guys whose careers are done, who have done it for 10 years at the top level. So how can you compare a defender?
Do you think Van Dijk can get better though? Do you reckon?
You know what? Sorry, let me. Sorry, can I just say something?
Van Dijk was on the way. Van Dijk was on the way to maybe being in that conversation. But the second he got that injury, I'm not gonna lie, he hasn't been the same player. So unfortunately, he goes into the conversations with the guys that have had 2-3 years at the top side of their game. Not the guys who are doing it for 10, 12 years. Not the guys that were doing it for 7, 8 years. If you want us to compare him to the guys who are doing it for 7, 8 years, we judge him in 3 years' time. And we see where we're at there. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that people are quick to push the time frame onto VVD. For me, VVD doesn't compare to Vidic and Ferdinand because they've done it for too long. Okay, cool. Vidic had shaky times. No one in their career is not going to have a shaky 6 months. Do you know what I'm saying? Or a shaky a bunch of games or off form. No one's perfect unless you're Ronaldo and Messi. And even they've had dips in form, albeit a shorter time. So he doesn't go with those two for me. He doesn't go with... I know Stam was obviously only there for 3 years, but
what a monster though.
It wasn't necessarily flawless for 3 years. He was flawless for 2 years, and Stam won more. So for me, he goes above him there. You look at the likes of Sol Campbell, done it for a little bit longer and won more trophies domestically. If we're talking in Europe, I think there's a conversation there, maybe. But again, you probably lean to Sol Campbell. So for me, he's outside the top. He's outside the top 5. Like it or not, he's outside the top 5. He's in that probably 10 to 5 range if he can carry on at a certain level. And if he does bring himself back to where he was, which I don't think is likely because that knee injury is a serious injury, looking at the context of things, in my opinion, I'm not gonna lie, he probably sits in the 10th, 8th bracket unless he really does bring it back, which I don't think is likely. You know what I'm saying? And that's me being real. I don't think I'm crazy for saying that.
Let me just address this. I think this is like, boss, respect for your super chat, and I respect you tuning in and showing the channel love. But these kind of statements and comments,
he's being chatting shit off.
I don't really get it. Listen, I could be a Colchester United, I could be a Wrexham fan, I could be a Wolves fan, I could be, I don't know, whatever team you want to. If we're having a football conversation, which is what we do, I'm allowed to talk on teams and players and whatever. And I'm a Spurs fan as well. We've been in the Premier League since the Premier League's been around. So I have a right to talk about another Premier League player. So I don't really get why you're saying, this Spurs fan. I'm not dissing. We're having a conversation about Virgil van Dijk and where he sits. And I've just said my piece. And I'm not dissing Virgil van Dijk. He's one of the best defenders I've seen in recent years. But he's not an super and elite best of all time defender yet. But like Monster said, everything Monster said is spot on. His career is still literally still in the peak of his powers. So he could still turn it around and we could be having this conversation in 4 or 5 years and he's up there. But right now he's not. I don't really get why you're trying to diss Spurs and say it's really silly. But it just goes to show some people just can't see outside of just their own team and, do you know what I mean, have a football conversation.
Look, can I just add just to quickly add to it as well? I think what people are the trap everyone falls in, or a lot of Liverpool fans fall into, is looking at Virgil in that 2-season span. And because football has changed, players like Vidic weren't asked to bring the ball down from a 60-yard goal kick under pressure and then spray it to Ronaldo on the wing. That wasn't football. Wasn't defense. Centre backs weren't asked to do things like that back then. So because football's now changed and centre backs are also now rated for their ability on the ball, the ability to pass, their composure in more advanced parts of the pitch. That is why I think people do fall into that trap of comparing Virgil van Dijk to Vidic, because Vidic never had to do those things. But you can also turn around and say Vidic got down and dirty 101 out of 100 times in a game. Virgil van Dijk is not the guy to get down and dirty.
Different profile of defenders though as well.
Yeah, right. Again, for me, if you want to compare him, you compare him to Ferdinand, which obviously Ferdinand was a lot better, but it's the same profile of centre back, you know. And because centre backs are required to do different things, it doesn't mean they're miles better. And for me, it's just different eras as well. Like defenders, again, just like wing backs. Your wing backs are now a lot of the time judged on what they can do going forward as well as what they can do going backwards now. So the criteria for being a world-class centre back or to being best of all time is different than what it is now. So that's why I said it's an unfair argument. But it's
you know what as well, though, Mons, as well, honestly, the reason why a lot of these players starting to get compared, because when I was growing up, people used to appreciate players for who they were. You didn't really hear all this comparing stuff really going on too tough, but it's just for content, innit? Because people need to make content. They speak about this and they speak about that and they compare this person and this person. And that's why it's all being brought to the forefront. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's why nowadays you hear a lot more people comparing this player and that player. I think you and Patrick both hit the hammer on the nail when it's talking about Van Dijk. I think with the Vidic, I hate Manchester United, hate him with a passion. You get me? Fucking, I wouldn't piss on him if they were on fire. But Vidic, he's better. He's better than Van Dijk, and that's just my honest opinion. So I think it's just all this comparisons and stuff that's going on. Sometimes you just got to appreciate certain players for what they can do and their abilities in it. That's just how I see it, man.
Absolutely. Lewis, get your opinion before we wrap up. Just on the whole Van Dijk debate and whatnot. You know, Carvalho's better than Van Dijk, innit?
I mean, well, someone said it. I think Van Dijk's up there, definitely up there with the best of all time. We can all agree on that. But it's always longevity that comes into that sort of discussion. That's why I saw what's his name? Grizz pull up Yap Stan as an example. In terms of the peak, you could put him up there with the best of the best. Same thing with Van Dijk, but longevity is also the reason why he's not really up there with the Vidic's and the JT's and all of that. So I don't think he's the best of all time. I think he's definitely up there, but longevity would have helped him a lot more in that argument. I don't really think he's got that in him yet. Well, obviously, depends on the next few years and all of that. But as of right now, I don't think he's there yet.
Absolutely. Good way to wrap up the show, man. Amicable chat. You know what I mean? Good opinions, good debate today.
Christian Sinclair.
Make sure you like the video. There's over 800 of you still locked in, man. It's been a very, very good show. You know what I mean? Good people tuning in. Like I said, Best of the Rest show. We're live every Tuesday. So big up to the panel, man. Premsy, man, let them know what you're doing. Big up to you for coming on.
Now, again, love sharing the panel with Mons, yourself, Patrick, Lewis. It's good that we finally got Lewis on the show because we know he's always dead busy as well. So we get him in bits and bobs, but it's great to have his on. Big up the chat as well. Like I say, week in, week out, there's some funny comments in there. Maybe some of you need to hold it down a little bit. You get me, keyboard warriors and whatnot, but it is still funny. You get me? It's still funny. But yeah, Premsy TV, appreciate a subscribe as we're on the road to 6K. Also, Premier League Unpacked every Mondays with Patrick as well and a couple of the other guys. This show on Tuesday and obviously every Wednesday, 10 o'clock as well. Got a new show with my guy Harry, big Arsenal fan from Japan as well. And it's a good show, man. Big up yourself, bro. Thank you for having me on.
Come on, man. Big up to you, man. Big up to you. Months, man. You hit 4K, man. Big up to you. Next road to 5K. That's what we love to see, man.
Yeah, man. It's just chaos on my channel over here, and it's chaos over here. So I think that's why I suit this. I love this show, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Love this show, love this channel. So
I've been needing someone to argue with.
I'm saying it's a match made. You know what I'm saying? But big up Lewis, obviously Patrick as well, Saeed, and Prems. You guys obviously making what it is as well. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, man, just drop a subscribe. Listen, I can't wait. 5K is going to be almost like that's just like dreamland, isn't it? So we're on the way. Catch us here next week, same time, and just make sure we smash the like button, man. At least we're going to get 1-in-2 ratio for those likes, man, and make sure we subscribe to all of these guys, man. So yeah,
absolutely, man. Big up, man. Big up. Carefree Lewis, man. Big up to you, man. You doing a watch on tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a watch along for the Real Madrid versus Chelsea car crash. So check that out, people. The panel will be in session for that one too. Big up Premsy, Saeed, Mons, Patrick. Big up everybody that's been locked in. And yeah, one day we'll get to 40 points, people. One day.
Come on. Always. And obviously, Patrick, man, let them know, man. What are you saying, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Brilliant show once again. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Shout out to all the super chatters and everything like that. And yeah, catch me on Twitter, Patrick Tyrant. Follow me. I'm here, there, and everywhere. Tomorrow I'm with Ricky Sachs, one of the biggest Spurs podcasters and fans. That's Last Word on Spurs. So we'll be previewing the Bournemouth game. And yeah, Football Terrace, obviously. I'm with Premsy, Premier League Unpacked every Monday. Saeed, Tuesdays, Best of the Rest. And yeah, it's all good. All love.
Absolutely, people. I'll be back in a bit now for the Bayern Munich watch along Man City. And yeah, man, big up to everybody who's super chatted. The Boss, Awinski, Samuel, a few other names in there as well. Big up to everybody who's super chatted. Like I said, man, appreciate anybody who donates. If you can comment, that's appreciated. If you can like the video, anything, any support is welcome on this channel, man. So love, and then we'll see you same time next week, people, for a new episode of The Best of Rest. We're out. Peace.